I was at a major convention with thousands of pastors once, and we had a very well-known speaker who was rather boring, and then we had brought in a very talented actor. And that actor came in and captivated us for an hour. I mean, it was overwhelmingly powerful. And those of us who are speakers went to lunch together with the actor and with the other person. And we were just sitting there thinking about this, talking about this, and somebody said to the actor, how come you affected us so deeply in comparison to the rest of us? And he thought for a minute, and he says, well, you take the truth and deliver it as if it's fiction. I take fiction and I deliver it as if it was truth. So one of the universities in America wanted to find out the power of delivery. So they had a good teacher, and then they hired an actress who memorized the outline, the talk that teacher gave, but had a different section of students. So this teacher didn't go, as she typically would, to give this talk to this group. She gave it here, the actor had memorized it, and the next day when section 2 came, the actor came, and she didn't even know the content. She had memorized the talk, but she wasn't a professional in this material. She delivered it. They then gave tests to the students. The tests here were 3 times higher than this time. Yeah, but what are you hearing? What are you hearing? The power of your delivery is the most powerful thing you have to cause them to learn. And your delivery has to do all with your body and how you use your body. Because this is your content, they're your class, and you're the person in the middle. So, number 3 is what I've been talking about. Style affects student learning more than any other action of the teacher. Principle number 4, style is the responsibility of the teacher and is within the teacher's complete control. What do I mean by that? This is a part that most people don't deal with. We said 8 out of all 10 teachers, and it's not just teachers, it's preachers. It's whoever stands in front of another group of people and communicates. Nobody plans on being boring. Nobody wants to be boring. Is boring here or is boring there? Boring occurs inside the student. Who caused you to be bored? I did. I caused you to be bored. So when you think about this, that means 80% of all the people who communicate haven't really come to the grips that I can change this anyway, anytime I want. Because it's my body. And if I see your body language is getting bored, because you'll scream to me, you'll start doing this, you'll start doing this, you'll start scribbling on your pad, you'll start talking, you'll start texting. You'll yell at me. You're boring me. What do I have to do? I could change my voice instantly, and at that moment, the 3 people that were asleep will have woken up. I can use my body, or I can really move across. I could do anything that I want. I can take money and just throw it in the air. And what will happen is everybody in the class will start picking up those 100 Rand bills. Yeah, but wait, what am I trying to show you? I'm trying to be funny a little bit because it's so sad. It's what's so sad? Almost all school is so boring. And it's the teacher's fault because they don't understand I'm in control of boredom. And if I'm boring, it's my fault, and I can change it tomorrow with my body. And I'm going to teach all about that after break. I'm going to give you secrets about every part of your body. And this is the first audience I've ever seen that didn't jump for the money on the floor. I don't know what's matter. because I'm not taking the money back. It's your money now. Whoa, she's saying if I'd have known that, I'd have pushed her away. Wait. What was that? That was a mental break. I've never done that before, ever. I've never thrown my money to you, ever before. What was I trying to think of? I was trying to think, give them another illustration that I'm in control and that I can grab everybody's interest at any time I want. Any time I want. Yeah, but wait, what did I just do? Nothing. I did nothing. I took up my cell phone and what did I do? I just proved to you I got all of your attention by the use of my body doing absolutely nothing. Yeah, but wait. Come on. If you have in your head, it's hard not to be boring, come on. Come on. Do you know when I learned about this? Because I used to be very boring. That's the natural thing that happens to all of us. And when I realized it was one day, I don't remember how this happened, but I came to understand my style was based upon my body, that I had control of my body, the students didn't, I did, and that teachers who are boring always talk in this range, right here. And so I'm glad to have you here. It's going to be a very exciting time, and I'm looking forward to sharing the lessons that we are here to talk about. And boring people will always stand behind this place right here. And boring people will always do gestures in this box right here. And boring teachers won't get past this point right here because they're not really comfortable. And that I was in charge of my voice. And if boring teachers have a voice like this, I can have a voice that's all over the place because it's my voice, it's not your voice. And as I was meditating on this, to learn this, because people didn't teach me this, I realized I have been so selfish with my body. My body doesn't feel like working so hard. This is the end of the third day of intense training, and I want to sit down over there and go have a cup of coffee and put my feet up and relax. And just rest. But what does that do to your learning? It messes you up. So what do I do to my body? I said, that's for tomorrow morning. Right now, give 110% of you to your students because you love them, you want to serve them, and my body is not important, and its emotions and tiredness is irrelevant to you, and it can wait. So when I learned that, the essence of it boiled down to either I am a selfish teacher or I'm a servant teacher. And if I'm a servant teacher, never will I permit my class to feel class today was boring. Now, will you? Because you don't have to do this. You may be here. You may not think you're here, but if we got your students together and said, they may put you here. So the issue that we're trying to deal with is, it's more than any other action affects learning. Therefore, colleges and seminaries, which are well known for boring classes, not because the content isn't brilliant, it usually is. It's not because the teachers don't love the students, they do. Well, what's the problem? Academicians typically underestimate the importance of delivery. That's how it happens. And pastors often underestimate this. Don't underestimate it again. Principle number 5. Oh, is this a big help? Style is influenced by personality, but is controlled by the teacher's selected role. What do I mean by that? I talked about this just a little to prepare you earlier. You and I have many major roles in life. I have a role as a husband. Let me use myself as an illustration. I have a role as a father of 3. I have a role of a grandfather of quite a few. I have a role as an author of 60-some books. That's another role. And right now I'm in a different role. I have a role as a friend. I have a role as a son of God through salvation and my role with him. I have another role called teacher. And when I got up this morning, I was in the role of husband. Then as I drove here, as Louis and Tia drove Darlene and me today, we were in the role of both a friend and the head of 10, because they have some terrific ideas. And I was asking them questions and learning a great deal. When I got here, I was in another room getting ready for this role. You must understand this, that when you enter the classroom, you are no longer in any of those roles. You're in a brand new role. A role means how you operate in that environment. And now that you know this environment requires a delivery that is very effective and that I'm in control of it, that means you are free, watch this, to do something that you're not really comfortable with because you're in a role. So you might not be comfortable in having a powerful delivery. But when I was speaking to the arena, I changed my role into the delivery for an arena. So you are in this role of a teacher. You could be a terrific dad, but are you a terrific in this role? So what could you do? You could pay attention to teachers and preachers that you say to yourself, they are extremely effective with me. Then pay attention to them. What do they do when they're in their role? I remember one of the greatest teachers I ever had. I couldn't wait to become friends with that person. I invited him out for lunch. Oh my. I talked the whole time because he never said anything. His role as friend is terrible. It's terrible. He doesn't have any friends. But when he got in this role here, he became a dynamic person that affected change for everyone. He was a severe introvert that at the table for lunch, he wouldn't even give eye contact. When he came up on the platform, everything inside of him, he was comfortable in the role of teacher. So as you think about this, you enter a role, and thus far in your life, you've defined how you will act in this role. And 80% of all of the teachers have a role that's boring. Change your role. Number 6. Style should be consciously planned according to the teaching situation. The teaching situation. 6.1, I want to give you 7 points here under number 6 quickly. That is, I change my style according to what has happened, what's going on. Number 1, the subject nature should change your style. If you are speaking at a funeral, you better not be dramatic like this. I'm so glad to be here. Isn't this a beautiful day? Oh. Number 2, the student's attitude toward the subject and the speaker should change your style. I was asked to go speak with some students from Harvard and Princeton and Yale and University of Pennsylvania and Dartmouth, the top 10 universities in America. This was a non-Christian group, and they wanted me to come and see if I couldn't help these students move toward Christ somehow. And I said to my son, Dave, Dave, are you up to having some fun? Oh, Dad, yeah, what? Why don't you come with me? Okay. So we flew up north to Harvard, and there was a huge room there, and David dyed his hair. He put a bunch of rings in his ear. He put fake tattoos. He changed how he dressed until he looked really out of it. And I was speaking about something, and he yells out, "I don't believe a word of that," just in the middle of this meeting. And of course, everybody looks around, and they're waiting for me to do something, and I say, "You don't?" "No, I think that's garbage. I don't believe that. That's stupid." And I said, "You wanted to discuss this?" "No, you're a chicken to discuss this." "No, I'm really not. Why don't you come on up here if you want to go at it?" He stood up and he came forward. We had rehearsed all this. So he comes up and he's attacking me with the very questions that we knew everybody in the audience had. And I answered every one of them. He went on to the next one, next one. It was intense. He called me names and everything. At the end, there was a standing ovation. And I said to the audience, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce the person who interrupted us. He's my son." Nobody in the room believed it. They did not believe it. What am I trying to say? I taught my outline through an argument to a group of people who were hostile to Christianity. What is that? Style. The content was the same. It was the delivery. Dave said, no, I am the son, really. And these aren't real. Nobody liked it. Okay, good. Next point. All right. Number 6.3, the size of the audience. We've talked about this. The bigger your audience, the more dramatic you should be. Number 6.4, the setting of the teaching situation. 6.5 is the seniority of the teacher and the students. So if you're coming and you are a 40-year-old and the kids are 7, you better change your style dramatically. 7-year-olds are right here, and so let's talk about theology. Today I have 17 points for you. They alliterate to the 7-year-old. You better change your style. And the gender, 6.6, the gender of the teacher in relationship to the students. That is, I'm a male. What happens if you're with a male audience, which is my favorite audience, so just a group of men somewhere? Or if I'm a male and I'm with a feminine audience, not just females, that's a whole other feeling. Gender has a lot to do with it. If you're a woman and you're talking to a mixed audience and your delivery is like too masculine, you will lose some of your audience. So you want to think about your gender. When we served in Swaziland with AIDS, our daughter, Jessica, who was 15 at the time, asked if she could be a part of the college movement we had in Swaziland. We had 1,100 college students I recruited from 11 different nations across the world. 11 different nations, 1,100 college kids came to Swaziland. And we got permission from the principal of every single high school in Swaziland, all of them, plus the Minister of Education, to go talk about AIDS on every campus for a week, an hour and a half for every class in every school in the #1 AIDS nation in the world. And we developed a curriculum, and some folks in South Africa were a key part of that. And Jessica said, "Can I go do this even if I'm not in college?" And I said, "Okay, it's about AIDS and it's about sex and everything, and we're going to get into it. Are you really up to this?" She said, "Dad, I think so." I said, "Okay." And she came back after the first day. She said, "Dad, here I come into a Swaziland high school with kids about my age, and here I am, a blonde girl from the United States, talking about sex." She said, "When I started speaking about sex, I got so embarrassed. I didn't know what to do because I was turning red and sweating. So I took our notebook and I started talking to them like this." I said, "Sweetheart, what happened?" "Oh, Dad," I said to them, please forgive me. I'm a little embarrassed to talk about these things with you, and I'm turning red. I said, oh, that was the right thing, to be honest with them. What did they do? They started clapping and said to me, it's okay. What is that? That's gender. That's gender. And it's a very sensitive topic. You got to change your delivery, so do this next time. And 6.7 is the goal of the teaching session. The session goal should determine your delivery. Principle number 7, style is fluid, right? Style changes and should be constantly adjusted by the response of the students. The response of the students. If they're bored, throw money at them. Do whatever you need to do. And principle number 8, style is a learned skill and can be dramatically improved by training and practice. I want to show you something. I was trying to think about, you can close your workbook. I was trying to think about style, and I want to close with this passage. It's in Nehemiah. Look up here for a minute. And I was trying to find out how far should a Christian leader go with style. One of the greats of the Bible is a man named Nehemiah, who was way up in the government and came around and actually led a major revival in the country. And I found his style to be rather provoking. I want to read it to you. Nehemiah 13:25 says, "So I contended with them, and I cursed them, and I struck some of them, and I pulled out their hair." Oh, man. "And I made them swear to God, saying, 'You shall not give your daughters as wives to their sons, nor take their daughters for your sons or yourselves.'" And I thought, until I start cursing, hitting people, and pulling out their hair, I've not really got a well-advanced style. Yeah, but wait. When Jesus was really upset, he threw over the businesses, turned over tables, got some cords of rope, and beat things, and yelled at people, and called people names. "You brood of snakes. You are tombs of dead people. If your righteousness does not exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees, you'll never get into heaven." And the Pharisees were right around them hearing it. What was that style? Whoa! Wee! I've never called anybody a brood of snakes. Never. Have you? But Jesus Christ did. Why? He shook people to their core with his style. Yes, he did. That's style.